But I had decided at that point I was going to be a school teacher. I figured I could be a teacher and help young kids get going in life and be a preacher on the weekends.
I love it.
And that's where I was headed. But then Randy Wood of Dot Records had seen me win the Ted Mack Amateur Hour on national television and the Arthur Godfrey Show, which was a Monday night show for professionals.
How old are you about when this is happening?
19.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, just 19, almost 20.
Okay.
But nothing came of it. So I'm on my way back home and going to be back preaching in a little country church, little one-room church.
So you're already preaching in 19.
Yeah,
Okay,
as a student preacher.
Sure.
And all of a sudden I get this call from Randy Wood of Dot Records, a startup label, but aggressive, young label.
Okay.
At that point there were only Decca, RCA, Columbia, and a little startup called Dot Records.
Got it.
But he called me after seeing me on those shows. Says, you want to make a record? I said, well, I'd love to. I'd made a couple of records in Nashville. Nothing had come of it. And so he sent me the ticket to Chicago, and I recorded a rhythm and blues song called One Heart Not Enough, Baby.
Right.
Two Hearts, Two Kisses. And it was a million seller. Wham! Just a million
So
seller.
is that the moment that you say, okay, my life just changed?
I didn't know it yet.
Okay.
Because I didn't think it was going to last. I'd seen and met other performers who had one or two hit records, and then I'd see them when I was promoting my record. I'd stop into a bar and grill somewhere, and there's a guy, a former big hit star, singing behind the bar, and I thought, well, this because you have a couple of hit records doesn't mean it's a career.
So you're that grounded even at that age.
I had to be. I'm married, and we're expecting our first child already.
Yeah.
And so I had to think sensibly.
Okay.
And so then the second record, the first was March of '55. Then in May of '55, I got to do a second record, which was Ain't That a Shame? Fats Domino was number one.
It was number one.
Million seller.
So you have back to back. Your first two recordings are million sellers.
The first few recorders were million sellers because the third was Crazy Little Mama Come knocking at my front door, and then on to Tutti Frutti and Rip It Up and
Is this normal for a young singer to come in
No.
and have million seller?
No, that's why I knew it was a fluke,
Okay.
but I was beginning to think maybe it's God. And so
you're giving God the glory even in that.
well, there
That's
had to be a
amazing.
purpose in it.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't plan it. I didn't
Yeah.
ask for it.
Yeah.
It just fell on me.
Okay.
And record after record after record, and I just seemed like I could have put a page out in the phone book.
Yeah.
And so instead, I recorded.
So great.
I recorded Hymns We Love, feeling that God had given me a platform, perhaps just a temporary platform, but I had millions of fans now. All of a sudden, I'm a teenage rock and roller. And the night that I performed in Cleveland in October of '55, still that first year, this kid from Shreveport, Louisiana,
Right.
Elvis,
Yes.
was the opening act.
Crazy.
And I met him backstage.
What was that like?
Well, it was interesting because he came in with two of his buddies, Larry Black and I forget who the other. There's a bass and a guitar player and him. And so I was singing with my 3 million sellers at that point from March of that year. This was October of that same year, and he comes in. Hi, Elvis, I'm Pat Boone, and he hands me his hand. He lets me shake his hand, but he doesn't shake back. He lets me shake his hand because he was so socially inept. Nobody had told
So he's not being rude. He just doesn't know how.
He just let me shake his hand,
Okay.
but he didn't shake back. And I said, well, Bill Randall says some big things may be ahead for you. He's the DJ. I don't know about that, but I hope so. And he just leaned back against the wall, and his buddies, he seemed nervous or bashful, and he was.
Yeah.
But when they introduced him, he came out, and the three of them pantomimed his records, and I've seen the footage of that on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He wasn't jumping around the stage. He was there just pantomiming a rhythm guitar.
I see.
First song he did pantomime was Blue Moon of Kentucky, Keep on Shining. Well, Bill Monroe bluegrass song, which wasn't rock and roll at all. And he tried to make it into kind of a rhythm and blues song. It didn't really work too well. It was strange. But then he said, thank you very much. I'd like to do the other side of the record for you. Hope you like it. And then he sang, That's All Right, Mama. That's All Right.
Did that tear the place down?
Yeah, that was, well, they loved it. And I did too. I said, ooh, I see what RCA Victor hears in him, sees in him.
I see.
but he was so nervous and shy. So, and then when he finished that, that's all he had. Just had 2 sides of that one record.
He plays 2 songs, he's done.
Yeah,
Got
and
it.
he left.
Got it.
And they only liked one of those songs.
Yeah.
And they didn't know who he was to begin with.
Right.
So I got away with having him be my opening act.
For the rest of your life, you got
And
that,
I had
yeah.
the good sense never to follow him again
Is
in
that
anything.
right?
But we got to be friends,
Great.
2 boys from Tennessee.
Sure.
Me from Nashville and him from Memphis, and
Yeah.
we kept up with each other, visited each other. We had the next time we were together, we were both renting homes in Bel Air, making movies at 20th Century Fox. About 2 or 3 years after that, we were the same age. He would come over on a Sunday with a buddy, and walk in the backyard. We didn't even have a fence or anything or a gate, and we'd be in the pool, maybe Shirley and the girls and I, and he'd walk in and, "How you doing?" And the girls say, "Oh," and they didn't know he was a big star. They just liked him, and they'd get out of the pool and jump up and run on him. I said, "Stop that, girls! You're getting him all wet. Leave him alone, man. I like it." And he did. That's why he was there.
Got it.
He was seeing me, his age, with a wife, 4 little kids.
Did you see a longing in his eyes for something like that?
I did.
Yeah.
I felt I did. I mean, thinking back more than I did then. Why would he come over on?
Yeah.
But we were still friends all the way through that time until he passed.